The Helen Clark government was the greatest government this country has had in decades. In the last 50 years, the Clark government stands out as the best by far. Helen Clark chipped away at the worst legacies of the neoliberal era. The government purchased a majority stake in Air New Zealand and renationalised New Zealand's railways. In doing so, bringing critical transport infrastructure back into the control of the New Zealand people. The Clark government increased the top tax rate to distribute the tax burden more fairly. Anti-union legislation was watered down. The minimum wage was increased significantly to support working-class people. The Clark government introduced penal rates, with workers who work public holidays being entitled to extra pay. Working for families was introduced, which strengthened social welfare and reduced child poverty. Tax credits were introduced to further support families. The Clark government reformed the court system to make New Zealand more independent from Britain. The government encouraged and supported trade apprenticeships to give lower-class young people greater opportunities at prosperity. Such trade apprenticeships also contribute to maintaining essential skills in this country. The government eliminated interest on student loans so long as students remained in the country. This smart policy encouraged young people to pursue higher education and provided an incentive for them to keep their skills in the country. It was an excellent piece of policy making. The government delivered a smart foreign policy. Helen Clark set up lucrative trade deals with Asian nations. Helen Clark recognised the stupidity of the Iraq War and refused to send New Zealanders to die in this stupid and immoral exercise. At the time, other major Anglosphere allies, such as Australia and Britain, were eager to engage in the invasion. Had National been in office, New Zealanders would likely have been sent to die pointless deaths too. Helen Clark had an excellent finance minister in the form of Michael Cullen. They massively reduced national debt. Cullen delivered more consecutive budgets with a surplus than any other finance minister since World War II. They were really the only government that actually managed the economy responsibly. They did what the right wing pretends to do. They also built a rainy day fund that pulled the country through the Great Recession. They established the Cullen Fund to prop up the pension. This was the kind of long-term policy making that we don't see nearly enough of. Forward-thinking policy that may not win votes today, but secures the interests of the country in future decades. That is what Helen Clark and Michael Cullen delivered. And in New Zealand politics, it is a rare thing. Another forward-thinking pragmatic reform was KiwiSaver, a great policy that has helped to address the pension issue and supported many young New Zealanders in saving to buy a home. It was one of the greatest policies introduced this century. A policy so inarguably good that even National put aside their partisan tendencies and agreed to keep it. With the Cullen Fund and KiwiSaver, the Clark government engaged in forward-thinking, pragmatic policy-making to address the future pension issue. They should receive a lot of praise for this. We have not seen such forward-thinking politics much in this country. The Clark government was a very rare exception. In controversially asserting public ownership of the foreshore and seabed, she made it clear that she was a traditional left-wing leader. Helen Clark believed in prioritising public ownership, not fanatical attempts at satiating white guilt with radical pro-minority politics. Why would a left-wing government prioritise the interests of feudal elites over those of ordinary New Zealanders? Helen Clark was more than happy to put the Green Party and the Maori radicals in their place. She did not pander to idiots. She governed with the interests of the New Zealand people in mind. Helen Clark was not flawless. In all of human history, there has never been a flawless leader. She neglected defence spending and presided over growing house prices. But she was leagues better than any of her contemporaries. No other 21st century Prime Minister even comes close. Neither does any 1980s or 1990s Prime Minister. She delivered very good governance. She delivered strong, confident leadership with a highly competent cabinet. She delivered pragmatic left-wing policies while keeping the extremes at bay. I would like to see a return to that era of Labour Party politics.